Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Hoppy. This is our last demonstration for today in the wonderful Checkers Plant Kitchen powered by Simple Truth. I'm with the amazing Arabella Parkinson. We had a great show yesterday, and today she's going to be teaching us about incredible cool things you can do with sorghum, right? Yes. But we're doing desserts. We've got some fun ingredients here. But first, I want to just talk a little bit about your masters in sustainability, right? Tell us about that.
So currently I am taking a step out of the kitchen for a little while. I actually don't think I can an interesting place, and I'm not going to sit here and tell everyone what's wrong with the world, but it's more about how do we create change and how do we learn how to essentially shift our habits to have a greater impact and to live in alignment with what the planet can offer us rather than exceeding that on all fronts. So the Masters is a way of deepening my passion for food, but doing that in a way that it's also backed by the science and it helps me understand what I can do with a greater impact.
It's so fantastic, and I think you mentioned something earlier which I loved, is that we need to include more of these fringe ingredients into our everyday eating plans. Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that? And I guess sorghum would be potentially one of those.
So essentially what a industrialized food system has done is we've popularized a few ingredients and grown those on a mass scale. So what I'm trying to express here is that they actually, in order to strengthen local food systems, to be able to enhance the biodiversity, we can use ingredients that are not as accessible, not as popular, in the main aisles in the supermarket. So this is an ode to sorghum, which is a grain that grows really, really well here. And it's baby popcorn.
I can't believe how cute this is. Do you guys want to come up and have a closer look?
You're welcome to come and have a little taste.
It looks like little baby popcorn.
It's essentially
so cute.
The exact same
how
method.
How amazing is that? I'll come around and show some of you.
But sorghum is packed with protein, and it is a grain. It's an ancient grain that has essentially evolved over a very long time that makes it very resilient in arid areas and things. So it's not using a lot of water. It also strengthens the integrity of the soil. So it's something that is just beneficial for everything and every use of it. So I'm going to...
Arabella, I just want to check with you. It's completely gluten-free, right?
Yes. So I'm going to be making something that's, I guess, a combination of things today. It's kind of like a take on a millionaire shortbread with the different layers of the dessert. But then also, I'm sure everyone here tasted a Rice Krispie treat as a child. Unfortunately, I'm not using marshmallows because I still don't quite understand what they are. But
True.
I'm going to be doing a variation of that. So
wonderful.
Can we get going?
Yes, let's get going. And tell me if you need me to as you know, I whisked for about half an hour earlier.
I'll just give you a whisk and a bowl and you can do that.
But I'm ready to go again if needs be.
You're going to use the other hand now.
Other hand.
Now you have to get ambidextrous.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what is in this bowl over here?
So I have fast-tracked this a little bit because this is definitely something that is not going to normally be done in half an hour. But for you guys, it will be. So in this bowl, I've got some peanut butter. I've got a bit of maple syrup, a little bit of coconut oil. Coconut oils are really amazing for these kinds of desserts because as soon as it cools down, it'll set. So that way you can get a beautiful texture that's something that holds quite nicely once it's popped in the fridge. So there's peanut butter, there's the maple syrup, coconut oil, and I've put a pinch of salt. Throughout this whole process, even though it's a sweet dessert, salt goes into every aspect of it because it really, when you eat a sweet dish that has had salt added to it, it almost kind of comes out after the initial sweetness in your mouth. So it lightens that sweetness a bit, and it makes it, it also brings out the flavor of whatever you've used.
Beautiful balance, enhances that flavor.
Exactly.
Fantastic. And what do we have over here?
Okay, so this is the base layer.
Okay.
Then I'll maybe get you to mix that, and then I'll do this. But
Perfect.
this is it's like a miso date caramel.
Ooh,
So it's
yum.
also quick, easy way to make a caramel. I often call dates nature's toffees because they are so versatile. It's a very quick, easy thing to turn into a dessert.
Absolutely. And actually, I'm a runner,
Yeah.
and if I'm doing longer distance stuff, sometimes I like to just have a date with me for a little bit of, if you need a little bit
Yeah.
of a boost when you're feeling a little bit low or something.
Exactly.
Those hills can be a little tough.
I know Claire loves a date. We know
Yeah,
she does.
they're really great. So what do you want me to do on this side?
Okay, so this has been warmed and now it's cold again. That's just to get it all mixed together, so it's a nice creamy consistency.
Beautiful.
And it needs to be cold before we add the sorghum because otherwise the sorghum is going to go soft.
Okay.
So you can just...
So can I just put these in and then just
And
sort of
give it a
coat
mix,
them?
yeah.
Okay, great. So for those who didn't see earlier what the little popcorn looks like, do you want to come have a look? I can go show them.
Baby popcorn.
Baby popcorn, so cool. Here we go.
So just give it a mix and let's see,
Okay.
because I have estimated my quantities for this.
That's what happens when you're such a professional chef. You know, you guys know how to estimate everything, guesstimate them.
Yeah, it does make it hard to then share things because then you're like, what did I
You're
put in there?
one sort
What
of
would
handful
I do
of.
if I was, yeah. That's why we love people like Jamie, you know, he's like, just like, chuck that in there, drizzle of that, and that's all you need.
Exactly. Taste along the
You
way.
see, you know
Well,
how to
I'm just trying to make sure they're
gauge.
all getting a bit of coverage here.
They all got to be coated
They
in
look
the-
beautiful. I think we can add a few more, maybe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay. It was like me with the
Heavy
water
handing.
earlier with the kneading. Get a bit excited, get ahead of myself. Oh no, but look, these are all getting beautifully covered. So you can all see here, they've all got that stunning coating, peanut
Gorgeous.
butter,
Gorgeous job
maple.
there. Bit of
Beautiful.
salt.
Little bit of salt, that's right, always a bit of salt. Stunning. Should I add the rest or do we think that's good?
No, I think that's good.
All right, perfect.
So now what you can do is you can pour it into here, and we just want to get it as
Like
level
spread
as
it
we
out,
can.
okay.
Yeah. I back
Tough
you,
jobs
girl.
today. Working hard in the kitchen this afternoon.
This is what chefs are good at. Is
Delegating.
we're coming to cook and then just passing it along. Good.
Okay,
good.
beautiful. Right.
Yeah, that looks gorgeous.
Okay, I will potentially pour the rest of that over. I just want to get this
Yeah.
all spread out, so we don't like to waste.
We do not like to waste. So now in here, I'm going to make the date caramel. If I can get this machine to be my friend today. I was making mayonnaise yesterday, and I had this open, and I was trying to drizzle the mayonnaise in, and the mayonnaise was like spraying out. Anyways, it was not as smooth as I had hoped, but it came out really nicely. Okay.
See, if you're just a home cook like me, it doesn't matter if you get sprayed by your own mayonnaise, and if it goes everywhere, it's fine.
And also, that's the thing with cooking is you can do something a million times, and then the one time you're doing mayonnaise in front of everyone, and then it's
Exactly.
shouting at you.
Okay. Does
So-
this look good enough?
That looks perfect.
Okay, I'm going to try and get the rest of that
Try
sauce
get it
onto
a
here.
little bit.
Okay,
Like,
sorry.
come on, precision.
Spread it down a
Amy.
bit. Okay, all right. Okay.
And then
Let's just
I'm
try.
kidding. This is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Do better. No, I'm
Okay,
joking.
right.
And then once you've done that, you can pop it in the freezer just
Okay,
for a little.
perfect.
So I'm going to add the dates. They have been pipped and soaking for a few minutes in some warm water just to soften them up. And I'm going to use a little bit of the water that they've been soaking in.
How long do you need to soak them for?
These are quite soft. These are zamli dates, so they don't take very long. So these have been soaking for about 15 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah. And then
right.
My
So into the
spoons.
freezer we go.
into the freezer we go. Nice.
Oh, this freezer's amazing. Gosh.
So I've added the dates. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of a beautiful almond butter. This
Oh,
is from
love almond
Butternut.
butter. I'm just going to go show those who walked in a
Yeah.
bit late what the baby popcorn looks like. It's a sorghum. How amazing.
So the idea with this kind of dessert is
What do you think? It's baby
we're trying
popcorn.
to bring
Isn't it
something
cute?
that is very healthy.
From
I'm
sorghum.
trying to merge pleasure and function. I think we tend to either want to be really healthy and then we get sad because we deprive ourselves of all the good treats, or we overindulge and then find that we
Yes.
do things to ourselves in our heads which are not necessary. So to be able to eat something that is not only delicious, it's also nourishing for the body, and it's also looking
Wanna
after
try
the
one?
environment using various ingredients like the sorghum. So I've also got a bit of amaranth flour, which is a very similar kind of grain, and that's essentially, you could do that with the sorghum, you could just grind it up and turn it into a flour. It's going to just give it a nice, hold the...
So it kind of binds it together.
Exactly,
All right.
yeah. I've got a little bit of coconut cream.
How much did you just add now? About an estimate? About a tablespoon or teaspoon?
About a
Okay.
tablespoon and a half,
Okay.
I guess. Then I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of coconut cream, also just to give it a bit of a beautiful creamy texture. And then I've got some miso. So
Beautiful dark brown miso.
yeah, gorgeous miso. And this is also really nice. I tend to, with sweet things, I find it can always be too sweet. So miso adds like a beautiful, rich umami flavor that I like tricking people where they're like, is this sweet? Is this not? I can't quite figure out.
I love that.
There's saltiness, but there's chocolate. So it's not like it's not going to coat your mouth in sugar. It's just going to be like a beautiful balance of all the
So I'm not a big
combinations.
sweet tooth, so I feel like this is my kind of dessert.
Yeah.
This is something that I can get behind, a little
I think
miso,
so.
savory elements in
You'll
there.
have to do a little test.
Okay,
And then I'm adding a little bit more salt.
right.
Then we're going to blend it up.
And then we're going to pray to the blender gods that we can get the blender going first time.
Feels like you have to kind of give it a bit of love and good vibes, which obviously I don't have.
Woohoo! There we go. Amazing. Such a beautiful caramelly color.
So we're going to let that just go as smooth as possible.
That looks beautiful. How do you know when it's ready?
I think when you can almost still, so I feel like I'm shouting because I can't hear anything here. You're going to see the specks of the, you can
Yes,
still see
yes.
the date, the
Yeah.
date skin. So it's just going to,
It's got to really blend all the way through,
exactly,
get smooth. Okay.
like a very smooth color. There's no kind of darker spots, but it's getting there.
Looks like we've got some samples to try. Yay! I always like to try the freshly made as well.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Okay, so we have our caramel. Another thing that this is really delicious with is if you had to make flapjacks and then use this as a topping for your flapjacks with a bit of fresh fruit. It
wow.
is gorgeous. I
You're
make
giving
I
me
make
so
a
many
beetroot
exciting ideas
flapjack
here. Oh, beetroot
with a
flapjack.
miso caramel, and
Just
it's
talking my language. I love a bit of beetroot. That color is banging.
beautiful. Okay,
Okay,
where's
we
your
need more
dish?
What kind of dish? Oh my gosh, this
Go, Amy,
so
go.
much pressure.
You're doing so well. Beautiful.
It looks like it's kind of all
Set.
sticking together. So
Thank goodness.
hope it's okay for the chef over here.
You're doing a fabulous job. So now you can see this is like,
Oh my word, that
Oh my
looks
gosh.
absolutely insane.
could just eat it with a spoon.
I was going to say, we don't need a flapjack or
We
something.
don't need this.
can just
Yeah, here we go.
spoon it straight out. It looks really, really beautiful.
So now we're almost making the next layer. So I'm just going to leave that and then do a nice thin layer so this can try and set as quickly as it can.
That looks incredible.
So
I'm gonna-
here I'm trying to, with these various layers, incorporate all the different
Oh my God,
textures.
amazing. Sorry, I'm
So
just
that you
tasting
bite
here.
into, it's fine, go for it. You have to be tasting it. You bite into
that's
it, and you've got a
delicious.
beautiful crunch, and then you've got all these different different flavors that come through that all balance each other out so that it's not
The
overly
miso
sweet.
adds really something incredible with the dates. It's just so, I see what you mean about, it's got that sweetness, but yet there's this element of kind of something at the back of the mouth almost. And it adds a richness and a depth to it.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
Okay, so we've got this layer.
And does that now go back into the freezer?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're trying to, essentially you could do this gradually and pop it in the fridge and let it set. But we're just rapid firing through this
Okay,
recipe.
let me open this for you. Right. So helpful having such a big freezer.
Okay, and then the last layer is the chocolate layer. So I'm going to get this on this is called a bain-marie. So I've got a bit of water in the pan. I didn't realize I should have maybe warmed this
And
up.
then do you technically bring that to a boil and then
Yeah.
you obviously just stir the chocolate in
Exactly.
the bowl?
So it's essentially it's you're trying to warm the cacao without it actually touching the heat because that's going to burn it.
Is that raw cacao?
Yeah. So this is
Okay.
cacao paste.
Wow.
So it's like a very very raw
Really,
version
woo,
of
rich,
of-
proper
yeah.
chocolate.
It's gonna give you a high. You're gonna leave like woo, Saturday night.
Yay!
So this is going to warm up, and that's about 200 grams of cacao, and I've chopped it all up, and just by chopping it, it's going to melt at an even pace because
Okay.
it does come in these big, beautiful chunks, which then you'll be sitting staring at it for a while. Okay, so that's going to do its thing.
Amazing. And how do we present this beautiful dessert? So basically we're layering it. It's chilling in the freezer. When we're done, are we kind of putting it on a big platter? Or?
So what I'm going to do is pull it out, and it's going to be hard, and then we're going to get a nice warm knife, and we're just going to slice it. So it's going to be like a little block.
Okay, great. So the chocolate, is that also going to, once you put the chocolate on top, go back into the
Yes.
freezer? Okay.
This is why we've got the tasters going out as we speak.
Amazing. What
How
do you
are
guys think of the
those?
tasters? Really? Good?
I'm
Amazing?
intrigued to know what that tastes like.
Yeah. You're going to have to try some of this as well.
It's a very different thing. It's, knowing that you've got like a team that are helping you do things. I guess you have to kind of relinquish a bit of control and just go, I hope the recipe makes sense.
Exactly. And I mean, this is something that you can make your own recipe or a recipe multiple times. And every time it might be slightly different. When you're not a chef, right? When you're just a cook. That's what happens with me. I made the same muffin recipe 3 times
Yeah.
for my birthday this week. And each batch came out slightly different. And I didn't know what was going on.
But that's also the thing. It's like it's an alchemy. It's based on like the humidity in the air, the temperature,
Probably
the
how often
quality
like
of the ingredients.
beating,
Exactly.
all of that, yeah.
So it's something that I think as soon as you relax into, you can kind of have a bit more fun because it's not like, if you mess something up, it's not like the food's going to come at you and it's food.
Exactly, just
And-
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Put love
and if you
into
don't,
it.
if something doesn't come out the way that you expect, it's quite fun being able to go, okay, what is it about that I don't like? What would I have to change?
So this is not a sciencey question, because I know we're doing very scientific-y stuff here
I mean,
as well. But I believe that you can really taste when food has been made with love and
Yeah.
good intention.
Yeah.
Like good vibes have been put into it.
Yeah.
And also when it's not, right? Like
Yeah.
you can just feel that it hasn't had that love and care put into something.
I can definitely feel when a dish is not inspired or when you feel like you are getting it done to get it done, whereas when you cook with your heart and you put that in, it's also very hard because then you can't separate yourself from your food. So you're literally
True.
like, here is my soul. Okay, carry on, But it's definitely the case. And I think that's why building the habit of making food, taking time to do it at home is so important because as much as there's so many avenues to get good food, but when you are using that energy and pouring it into food and then eating it again, it is like this beautiful exchange of your energy in a different form.
It's kind of like a love language for me. And when you're cooking for friends or loved ones, you're kind of putting that out there into the universe and then sharing it all together again. It's a beautiful thing.
I always say it's an amazing art form because it's one of the only art forms that we actually interact with and ingest. So you are what you eat. And it seems like a...
Hello. Are you having a good time?
Like, run away.
Should we see how our chocolate's doing over here? And is that cocoa butter?
So this is coconut oil. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to add a dollop of coconut oil into here. I think the water is still trying to boil, but it's getting there.
Oh, it's definitely starting to melt.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So we're going to let that melt. It should be quite quick now that it's...
Now that the process is going?
Yeah. So we're going to add a bit of coconut oil. This is a nice way to help it set. So this chocolate there's nothing else in it. So
just
it is
the cow.
super rich and super creamy. And as soon as it sets, it's almost like a chocolate bark. It feels.
Oh wow! Okay.
And then I'm going to add a bit of salt into that as well, and that salt comes through after the sweetness.
Beautiful.
Kind of dissipates in your mouth.
And with this dessert, because we're making quite a nice big tray, if you're just like me at home, or me and my partner who is a big sweet tooth, you can just keep it in the freezer.
Yeah.
Is that how you? And then you just kind of whenever you want, bring it out, cut little portion yourself.
Or you could slice it up and put it in a container, an airtight container, and just keep it in the fridge, and that should last for a little while.
Okay, perfect, amazing.
I
love the texture that's going to come from that the sorghum popcorn. Good, yes, amazing. So we're starting to get our melting.
Starting to see some action happening.
Oh, incredible. And so by the time we pull the tray out, that second layer that we put on will have kind of hardened, right?
We hope so.
Okay.
We will see.
Live cooking.
This is the fun. We're all in the journey together.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, it's going to taste delicious.
It's going to be delicious anyway, right? Even if it's a little bit soft, it's going to be beautiful.
Let me just get some spoons.
So that's looking nice and glossy already.
Yeah.
Do you need one of these spoons? No?
Yeah, I actually might just use one of those. Yes. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions, anybody?
Do you have a question? You see
what is your question?
Anyone with a child's like, what? No questions.
No question. Question? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me come. Let me
Pop
come
the popcorn.
closer.
Yeah. So you, it's exactly the same process as regular corn kernels. A little bit of oil in a pot. Put the kernels in and let it do its thing. Yeah. There is, it's an African grain, so there is, it is a grain that is produced on a big scale, but here we have access to much nicer varieties. There's local village foods, they have an amazing organic version, and what's also really nice is because it can be used as a cover crop, so instead of it being, grown in that mass scale, which is often genetically modified and all the what-whats that we don't really like. It can be used by small-scale farmers to enrich the soil and to strengthen the resiliency of it. So then it can be harvested on a much smaller organic scale.
That's amazing. So it really kind of gives back as well.
Yeah.
So just that first question, was it just about how you make the popcorn? And the second question was? Oh, just sorry, for anyone who didn't hear, is it mass produced? Okay, great, thank you. If anyone else has a question? No?
So I think a big reason why it's not necessarily something you can find in all shops is, ironically, it's mass produced, but a lot of it's used for animal feed. So that's why we need to kind of intentionally go out and sometimes find the things that are not as accessible because they are They're in...
I think we have a helper in the kitchen.
Hello.
Hello.
Can't keep my composure with her around.
What is your name? Can you tell us your name?
Okay, so the chocolate is
What is
melted.
that?
I'm going to turn that off.
Mimi. So nice to meet you. Do you want to have a look at the chocolate? We can show you the bowl.
So,
Shame you can
Can I
probably
taste?
barely see her behind the scenes here. How nice is that?
it's not interesting.
So great.
Taste.
Beautiful. Mmm. Delicious.
She's happy.
Yay! Okay, shall we see what's happening here? Oh, there we go. Let's close
Okay,
that.
so here we have the dessert. I kind of want her to be up here.
Yeah. Do you want to? Can I put her on the counter? Can I put you on the counter? Whee! Okay, there we go. Now you can see what's happening here next to us. There we go.
So this is the
Perfect.
same mixture. This has just been cooled down a bit so that we
Say hi to
can
everybody. Hi.
speed up the process. And then I'm going to add a little pinch of salt.
Does that look yummy? So yummy. So a pinch of salt, always good. And the sea salt, which I think we used yesterday as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah.
Favorite.
The sea salt is also, it's going to kind of come out in little bits, whereas if you used a very fine salt, it's just going to make everything taste salty. It's not going to
For little
work
pops
as
of
nicely.
flavor.
Yeah.
And I love how glossy that looks.
Yeah.
Beautifully glossy.
I added a little bit of maple syrup just to add a little bit of sweetness
Okay.
because the cacao is very rich.
Do you want to come down? Okay. Can I take you down? There we go. Oh, you want to go back to Mum?
We're
You
going
wanna
to
stay
pour
here?
this over. And I'm just going to spread
That
it
looks
out a little
lovely.
bit.
Oh wow, it really is just so beautifully glossy. I love it. And you just kind of allow it to cover the whole top and then we put it back in the freezer,
Yeah.
right? Okay, we're going to put
And
it back
there
in the
we go.
freezer. Okay.
That's going to
let's
go
do it.
back in the freezer.
Thanks for helping. She helped open the drawer. There we go. It's so good to have another assistant in the kitchen. Right. So now we basically...
So now we just have to wait. But
Basically done.
We are done.
That's wonderful.
What I also might do is put a few little bits of the popcorn on top to give it an extra little crunch.
Like a little bit of a garnish.
Got Claire's marigolds here that I'm going to
Oh, beautiful.
garnish.
The marigolds. Oh, little pop of color. Divine. They are pretty. Let's bring them out so you guys can have a look.
And other than that, that is the dessert.
How
Thank you
beautiful
so
are
much for
these?
joining. And oh my gosh,
So
standing on the child.
I actually planted these with my herbs at home in my little courtyard
Those are your
garden.
marigolds?
No, not these ones. These ones look better than mine.
I was like, wow,
These
you
are
must
like-
have a big garden.
These are like
full of-
presentation marigolds. Mine are like, help.
Organic
we're
ones.
just here to like, we're a bit funky and we're here to just help the herbs out. Also trying to attract, natural insects
Yeah.
and stuff, bees and things. So I didn't actually eat them though. I should have.
No, but I mean, if you're going to eat them, keep some
Exactly.
and eat a few.
Okay.
And that way it's going
True.
to regenerate itself rather than we wanting to like take
Exactly,
everything
just a
and
couple,
then it's
just
done.
a bit of.
Yeah.
What do you
Thank
think?
you, everyone. I will be posting the actual recipe on my Instagram page. My page is Eat to Thrive, and it's been wonderful being here with you all.
Thank you so much, Arabella. This has been an incredible experience. I can't wait to tuck into that dessert. I know you guys have tried some, but let's have some more when it's ready to come out the freezer. Have a wonderful evening. We are here again tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Thank you, Arabella.
Thank you.
And thank you to our kitchen assistant. There she goes.
She just walks out. She's like, okay, I'm done.